This is the GilletteLabs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Welcome to Arizona here. This has been, so far a really good setup for us. Obviously Coach Fisch has been very accommodating, giving us great access to everything. It's been great. It's a good program here. Jedd's done a really good job of getting things going in the 2 years, and it's pretty obvious that everything they do is to prepare the players to move on to the next level, whether that's football or wherever they go from here. But it's a pro style program in a college environment, and that really fits well for us to come in here and be able to utilize all their resources. So obviously a quick turnaround here. Vegas, been a while since we've seen them. A lot of the same explosive players that we saw in training camp, and maybe a couple other ones that we didn't see. We'll see how that goes. But been in a lot of close games, a lot of one-score games, a lot of situational football. A lot of those games could have gone either way, but I think when you look at them, you see, two very, very explosive players offensively and a great quarterback, and obviously a good offensive system, and defensively, well put together scheme with Coach Graham. Don't give up many big plays. One of the best in the league at that. Obviously, you have two elite pass rushers and a lot of other experienced players. And kicking game, we talked about that. These two kickers are two of the biggest legs in the NFL. Can change field position. Offensively, they play on a short field. Pretty much as soon as they get to the 40-yard line, they're in field goal range, maybe in the 45. So, and then the return games have been good for them as well. So, really, really well-balanced team that's just, a handful of plays away from being, probably in double-digit wins. So, impressed watching them on film, and we're going to have to play well Sunday, and so that's what we're preparing to do.
Does the work, Bill, that you did against them over the summer expedite the preparation process for you guys at all, or it's so far removed?
Sure. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. There's certainly game plan things that have come up along the way, but we're pretty familiar with them, and we knew that at that time that this was going to be a short week, and to try to take a little bit extra preparation time. Not that we were going to play them then, but just in general terms, knowing they were going to show up later on to try to, make sure we took advantage of the opportunity. I'm sure they did the same thing.
Bill, the players have talked about liking this, staying here and kind of being together to get their work done this week. How have you seen it from your perspective, where you've done this a couple of times now in the regular season?
I think it's a good opportunity. It could be good. It could also not be good if the circumstances didn't line up properly. But it's a great opportunity. That's for sure. It's a great opportunity, and certainly the facilities and the setup here are really good. So I think we're all looking forward to it, and need to take advantage of it. It's good.
Josh, Uche was named Defensive Player of the Week. He's been on kind of a surge here. What has allowed him to kind of pick up the pace?
Yeah, as I think I said, the biggest thing with Josh is just him being out there. He's always put good plays on film and good plays on the practice field, and he's flashed. It's just, this year he's been able to stay out there on a consistent basis, and that's allowed him to continue to move ahead and build on his repertoire, build his communication and execution with his teammates on pass rush games and communication and drops and coverage adjustments and things like that, which he's involved in to a degree, and just doing that on a consistent basis, day after day, week after week, that definitely piles up and makes it that split second faster, whether it's your reactions, communication, anticipation. I think those have really been the biggest things. He's been out there since start of the off-season program, all through training camp, and all the weeks in the regular season, and that's wasn't really the case the last 2 years. I think that's been a big thing. He's always worked hard, and he's always done everything you've asked him to do. He's been great to coach, but I think just his availability this year has affected his production.
What impresses you about Josh Jacobs when you watch him on film? Seems like a running back that does everything well.
Yeah, he does. He leads the league in rushing, so strong, tough kid to tackle. He's got good contact balance. Very powerful guy, has good patience. Sees the hole, sees lanes, and as we saw, his breakaway speed. He's been able to, go the distance and create some explosive runs, not just the 5 and 6 yarders, but he's had some home runs too. So, he's got that kind of ability. Runs inside, runs outside, and has good vision. And again, good contact balance. He gets a lot of 2, 3, 4 extra yards after the first guy hits him, just because of his ability to, play with good pad level and play strong, and has good ball security. I mean, I'd say it's another great thing about him is he takes good care of the football, as their entire team does. But I mean, they fumbled. I mean, they don't fumble. I mean, all year you barely find a fumble on film.
Bill, do you anticipate starting the IR clock on Christian Barmore?
We'll see. It's a possibility.
Same thing? Anything?
Yep. Yeah, we got a few guys that are kind of in that category here. We'll take a look at them, a little bit before practice and see where we think they are.
Besides making kicks, what has Nick Folk brought to the organization since he's been here?
Yeah, Nick's a really consistent player, a really consistent guy. You get the same guy every day when he walks into the room. And he's very confident, but he's got a great deal of humility too. He's a great teammate. He supports everybody. But he's, no matter how big the situation is, he's got a real calmness about him. And that's, I think, a good thing. Calm but confident. But he doesn't get, too high or too low, but is very consistent. And he knows what's important. He works on the important things, doesn't get distracted by a lot of stuff that in the end doesn't really matter. I think that's a good influence too. Sometimes that can be a distraction. Get caught up in something that doesn't make any difference. For him, he's on the important things. But he's a great teammate, and just a ton of respect for him in that locker room and in our organization.
Well, you were kind of here earlier. What's it like to be in the house that Nick and Bruschi and Gronk helped build on this trip?
Yeah, I've been here a couple times before, but it's great. It's a college campus stadium, and there's quite a few names up there that I've coached. It's probably got to be 10, 15 of them up there at various points along the way. Some of them you kind of forget that they were Wildcats, but and we got JJ and Nick obviously on the team now, but there's quite a few guys up there, and there are other guys that we come down here and worked at, John Fina, guys like that we spent a lot of time with that I didn't end up coaching, but and then obviously the coaches that have been here as well. So yes, it's a good connection. Good, nice setup. Up by the hotel. I mean, the surrounding areas is pretty spectacular.
As you prepare to face the Raiders, obviously familiar face in Josh, I was curious, as we stand here today, just making the transition without Josh offensively, how much harder, or how hard has that been relative to maybe what you thought it would be?
Yeah, again, we've talked about that. We've been in this transition every year.
Has this one been harder than others in the past for you?
Yeah, every year is a different year, so they're not hard, they're not easy. They're just you take it as it comes.
You had Jedd Fisch in your building for about a year or so. Did you see any traits in him that would lead you to think he'd be a successful head coach, and if so, what were some of those traits? Yeah,
I mean, I've known Coach Fisch for quite a while, and he asked me to to support him on this, which I did. Spoke to the president, and I support him very strongly here. I think he's got a great background, knowledge base. He understands all the things about football, not just the X's and O's, but he's a great teacher. He understands how to put a team together and all the things that go into that. And we've had long conversations about that. He's helped me a lot because he's been with other organizations, seen other things at different points in his career, both college and professionally, and our friendship's been great. It's might have benefited me more than it benefited him. I don't know, because he's got a good perspective on things that the places he's been and some of the other people that he's been with. I'll probably ask him more questions than he's asked me. So I think he's very well, not only qualified, but has a great deal of experience in every aspect of the game, from preparing players to go into the NFL, to recruiting, to developing players, to developing a staff, to creating energy and enthusiasm for the team and the community. All the other, some of the other social aspects that go with it, families and that kind of thing, especially in college recruiting. I think he's always done a good job of that. And every time he was in college and I asked him about players, it was all, he knew, everything about the kid's family, his parents, his coaches, his, what kind of system they ran in high school and so forth and so on. So he was very involved with that, not just, just like a recommendation about the guy's skill set. It was, way deeper than that. So, yeah, I've always been very impressed with him, and followed him here the last couple of years, and he's done a really good job putting this program in a competitive position.
Bill,
Final question, guys.
Cameron Grone was elevated the other night, but ultimately inactive. Can you just talk about what went into that decision and what you've seen from him at practice the last few months when we haven't been able to watch him?
Yeah, Cam's been, Cam's had a good year. He missed a little bit of time at the beginning of the year, and then, had a good stretch there, and then, missed a few practices. About a month ago or so, somewhere in there, and then it's kind of, started to reclimb from there, and so, he's definitely on a positive track. So, we weren't sure how it was going to go there, and we want to protect ourselves on that against Arizona, but he's done a good job for us, and if he can continue to stay out there and work hard and improve, then maybe he'll get an opportunity here before we're done. All right, great. All right, thank you.